Mr. Udoh will share his experience. Mr. Udoh, good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you. I want to be sure you can hear me.
Yeah,
Mr. Good
good
morning.
morning, my brother.
All right, you're welcome. So, Mr. Harry is
I can hear
also,
you.
all right. Mr. Harry is also a very, very dogged member of civil society. These are men who are particularly saddled with the responsibility of making government to hear the cries and the hues of the downtrodden. But he is going to share his own experience with us. Then we go back into the meat of the matter. Mr. Harry, welcome on the show. Please share your brief experience with us. Then we will show the video of the IPC press conference yesterday and then continue on the conversation. Mr. Udoh.
Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be with you, and
You're
I
welcome,
joined MKO, Citizen MKO, to celebrate Spectrum for becoming a voice for the voiceless and for the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so unfortunately, my daughter, along with 10 others, was kidnapped on the 1st of November on our way to the youth service camp in Kogi State. She was en route an AKTC Abuja bound vehicle bus when the incident happened. And yeah, so well, I got contact. I lost contact with her about 4 p.m. And that was just about the time that that event took place. And by 7 p.m., someone called me and said, and asked if I was the father to mention my daughter's name. And I said, yes. And he said, well, brace up, there's been an accident. And I said, is my daughter okay? And he said, no, nobody's injured, everybody is fine, but that they were attacked by kidnappers and 11 of them have been taken away, and that the 4 of them escaped. And I said to him, my first reaction was, how did 4 of you escape and my daughter did not escape? He got upset, he turned off the phone, then I called back. And he said, why would I ask him that kind of question? That something happened, he just found his way. And all of that. I told him, don't be offended. I'm a father of a little girl who's been kidnapped, so forgive my reaction. But where exactly did this thing take place? And he told me at Ejule. And then somebody, I heard a background voice saying, after Ariam, before Ajaokuta. And he said to me, oh, that's the driver of the vehicle. So we dropped that call. Then I thought to call again. I called and I asked to speak to the driver because I'd asked the guy who called me, I have his name, they let me not mention it. And he said that he was using the manifest of in the vehicle. I said, okay. So I called this time. I said, let me speak with the driver. And I asked him in the local dialect, in Ibibio, and I said to him, please, oh boy, tell me what exactly happened. And he said to me that they were going and these guys came out in the middle of the road. So he stopped, tried to reverse. They came out from the sides and from the back, pointing guns at them and asked them to alight from the vehicle. They all came down, they asked them to lay face down. And then they collected the phones of the passengers and then asked them to march into the bush. As they were marching into the bush, one of them behind said, you, get back into the vehicle. I hope you're noting my story.
Yes, I am.
And that's how, so that's how they now came back and started using the manifest to call parents. And they said, and family members. And they said, like he said to me, he said, I'm sure they will soon call you. So I just wanted to let you know. By 9:40, my daughter, I saw my daughter calling me. And I picked up and he said, Daddy, we've been kidnapped. And the kidnappers said they want money. So I asked her how much. And she said she doesn't know. So I said, ask them. And I heard her saying, sir, how much? My father says, how much? And they called some figure like that, way beyond my pedigree. They called 20 million. So I laughed and, and I said I didn't have that. So they cut off the call. I called again. Another fellow came up and said, yeah, is your daughter, is your child here? I said, yes. He said, now. I said, what? He said, your daughter is in the kidnappers den. I said, so? He said, well, now money matter. I said, money matter. So how much? He said, what did they tell you before? I said, 20 million. He said, that's what they want. I said, well, if I had 20 million, you wouldn't see her to kidnap. All right. I would have flown out and used escorts to take her to the camp in Kogi. In any case, to cut the long story short, that's how we went back and forth until we paid to get my daughter back. The 11 of them were released the night of the 9th of November.
That was
I got my daughter back
on the 9th of November. That's some few
in Abuja.
That's some few days ago, Uncle Harry.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe slightly above a week or close to about 2 weeks.
At midnight on the 9th, but by the time they got to Abuja, I got my daughter back by 10 a.m. in Abuja on the 10th.
In the morning.
When these things happened, I can tell you as I speak with you that no one from the AKTC has reached me either by SMS.
I was even going to go there. I was even going to go there because this will now demand that we use whatever we have to get the kind of response we get. Because on these two occasions now, the first one being the one going to Sokoto, which Ibom People's Congress addressed yesterday. This was the same AKTC transport. And now you are giving a vivid account, a father's account of the ordeals that your daughter faced in the hands of these people. And it's the same AKTC line. And both stories corroborate in the position that no AKTC representative has communicated with any of the families. And I find that a little bit disturbing, although I'm not supposed to share my opinion on this show. But I'd like to get clarity again, Mr. Udoh. Of course, I know how you feel. I know how you felt. There was no way you would have been calm. You would have been a little bit agitated. You said you made payment.
We were traumatized.
Yes, of course, you were traumatized. So you said you made payment. How much did you pay? And after you made payment, what exactly did they tell you?
Well, I may not be willing to divulge how much we
paid. Okay, fine.
But I'm aware that some persons paid more than others, and I think I'm one of those. And so the range was around 2 million and above, and then some paid below that, thereabouts. What is most important is not even the money paid. I mean, it's painful in these hard times, to be able to, be able to put out that kind of money, especially and unplanned for stuff like that. And for a child who was going to do national duty and all of that. So, but the point is that the people who had the responsibility to ferry this child to a destination, which was Lokoja at the time. She was in the bus, that was en route Abuja, has not responded. And I can tell you, like the MKO was saying, I also leveraged on contacts and I reached out to the highest echelon of government in this state. And you can note that I said the highest echelon of government in this state.
I understand clearly.
So I didn't get a response, even though I was later told someone within the government said, the governor has reached out to the governor of Kogi State. But you see, I had expected not even the money. What was paramount in my head wasn't the money, was getting my 20-year-old daughter, who has always been chaperoned, who has never traveled alone before, who was now, for the first time that she was stepping out alone, was now in the hands of evil men.
Wow.
I wasn't afraid of her return. I was afraid of what would happen to her psyche. All right. I was afraid of the trauma she was exposed to at such tender age for someone who's been insulated all her life, to be exposed to that kind of traumatic experience. That she told me was sleeping on the bare floor in the bush. They were being fed once a day with food not fit for dogs. And initially, she wasn't eating until those women that were with her started encouraging her to just put something in her stomach. By the time I took my daughter, she was emaciated. Her eyes were sunken. I have the picture I took of her. If you see that picture, you will cry. But I took that picture for posterity. No one in government reached out to say, hey, oh boy, we've heard this matter and we are working on it. That was all I needed. Governor was
Mr.
doing
Udoh,
something.
Mr.
That
Udoh,
the secretary to the state government was aware that it was doing something. That, all the persons, were doing something. I want to take time out to specially thank the deputy speaker, wonderful, wonderful guy. I want to thank the chairman into local government. Those two guys stood out for me. I don't think maybe because I'm from it too, but they identified with me, prayed with me, and the chairman himself went to local government chairman, went all the way to the NYSC camp here in Akwa Ibom to go try and make efforts within, his limited reach to see that my daughter was returned. Those are the kinds of things that you need to hear from government when citizens are kidnapped. So to hear, I'm corroborating to you that the government hasn't reached me, neither has AKTC reached me to say, even just to say, hey, we are aware that your child was kidnapped. We are working on it. We don't pay ransom, but we are working on it. That's all I needed to hear. That my government, takes every single individual of the state into consideration. The same individuals they will return to for their votes. To show that they are important. Nobody. I sent text messages and I have evidence. Some of them I've known for more than 20 years now. No response came. Not a response like, hey, how did that happen? Nothing like that. Oh, don't worry, we're working. I heard that the Commissioner for Internal Security said that they have retrieved, they have, secured the release of the 11. How did he do that? How did he? I need him to explain to the public how he did that.
Okay,
Because
Mr. Udoh.
families, and we're talking to ourselves, families negotiated for themselves and got their wards and family members, their wives and children and brothers and sisters out of the game. The government did not do anything. So how can the commissioner now come out to say that they have secured release? What did he do?
Yes.
Does he know me?
How
Does he know
did
any
they
of the
exactly?
family members? Did he speak to any
How,
of them?
how did they secure the release? What information did they work
Yes,
on?
we need to know.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Udoh, in as much as I want to really sympathize with you and say on behalf of my platform and management, we are very sorry, but we thank God that your daughter is safe. This account
Absolutely.
from you, aside the fact that it's a very touching one to myself and my crew, I'm sure anybody who is watching this program will also be touched, with it. But quickly, let me go back. I don't know whether my producer is ready. Let's play the video of the IPC conference and the categorical statements and demands from government. If my producer is ready, please let's quickly take that video.
Here this afternoon for a simple reason, and short and simple reason. One, we have 8 of our Akwa Ibomites abducted in the last 90 days or more on their way to serving the nation. And we are here as a body to lend our voice to the government to do whatever they can within their power to rescue these young men and women. IPC have sent a letter, to the President of Nigeria, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have sent a letter to the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. We have sent a letter to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. We've sent a letter, to National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu. We have also sent a letter to our governor, Pastor Umar Basiena. And in that letter, which I'm going to specify very succinctly what our demands are, and we also want to work again alongside the state government and the federal government in the rescue of Akwa Ibomites that are being held in captivity for the last almost 90 days. Number two, we want to direct, again, as appropriate, that the Nigerian Army, police intelligence, and other security agencies to facilitate immediate release and return of Akwa Ibomites that are held in captivity in Zamfara State home immediately. We also ask to be directed as appropriate that the government agencies responsible for working collaboratively and sharing information intelligence with families of the abducted corps members to assuage their hurt and heighten their anxiety. We can no longer allow our children to be exposed to incessant abduction, killings, in the cause of saving our nation. And in that, we recommend a review of NYSC scheme. Again, that's very simple. We want two things very succinctly. We want NYSC scheme to be reviewed, and we want NYSC to be scrapped or reform, reform NYSC. Okay? Part of the reform should include maybe allowing us citizens or to serve in their geopolitical zones. Okay, because of the fact that the security of these young men and women, they are not guaranteed.